Robert Plank Show, Episode 3, How to Create an Information Product Within 48 Hours and Sell 1,000 Copies. What's up? I hope you're having a great day, great rest of the day, great rest of the week, great rest of the month. We're going to talk right now today about how you can stop trading your time for dollars and start trading your knowledge for dollars. Here's the thing, it's that I got started as a computer programmer, and I realized that I was really going to be limited by the amount of time I could put into something. I knew I was going to be limited by the skills that I had, and I knew that I wanted leverage. I wanted to have more than a six-figure income. I wanted to have it right away, and I wanted it to continue without me having to bust my butt every single day. And I built a real successful internet automatic business using this thing called information marketing, selling ebooks, reports, membership sites, home study courses, even physical DVDs and books. And we're going to cover all that today in a very focused session, a very focused podcast. We're going to get you to create an information product within 48 hours and get you on the way to selling 1,000 copies. Just a second, we'll be right back. I want to let you know that today's session is sponsored by our very good friends, me, Robert Plank, and Lance Tomashiro at makeaproduct.com. That's makeaproduct.com, makeaproduct.com. So the thing about that is that we can show you how to generate a money-making report in about a day or two. We can show you how to speak out 100 articles in just 6 hours, or one article in about 90 seconds, which means that you can have an unlimited number of reports, of membership site content, of free content, articles, emails, all that good stuff, and it's all created by you specifically. We're not talking about outsourcing your content creation. We're talking about outsourcing your publishing, and it means that you can build your own business based on what you know. Alright, good stuff. As we said, I'm Robert Plank. I make a full-time living from the internet, from internet marketing, from online publishing, from computer programming. I don't want to say that to brag or say I'm so great, but I know that you can do it too. And I'm making this podcast because I want to help you, because I mean, life's too short to screw around. Life's too short to be stuck in the same pattern, in the same rut all the time. And I've spoken on many of these other podcasts where we have students in so many different areas who learn to take their passion, learn to take their skill, and actually make money from it. Early today, I was on the phone with someone who lives overseas, who has an entire team of people. And what he does is he approaches local businesses who don't have websites, sets up their websites for them, sets up if they need QR codes, they need social media, if they need reputation management, all kinds of fancy stuff, because some people have needs and some people have skills, and it's up to you to find where there's that hole in the marketplace, for lack of a better word. And, you know, for me, that was computer programming. That was people needed to know how to make their web pages do these things they wanted. And many times it was just a matter of someone had some kind of a web page. And more often than not, it was a direct response, long-form sales letter. It was a web page with only one thing for sale. Sometimes we had people who had content sites, like maybe they had some Google ads, or they had Amazon ads, or it was a membership site, but people kept coming to me because they needed to have something new, something better, and they usually had a pretty good idea of what they wanted. This usually came from their competitors' websites, or they would see, well, today, you know, Facebook or MySpace or Yahoo.com is doing something different, right? Maybe on a particular day you'd see, I don't know if you've ever seen, maybe not so much anymore, on a web page, you'd see like the corner of a web page peeling back, right? maybe you've seen these every now and then, but on the top right corner of a web page, it's kind of like the corners peeling off like a page. And if you move your mouse up to it, a whole ad kind of flies open. As if you're like peeling down the corner of a magazine. So this was something that started to kind of creep up on the internet, and no one really knew how to do it. And there wasn't really a plug-and-play solution, and so I made not the first, but one of the very first plugins, scripts, programs, pieces of software where there would be a corner on the top of a page that peeled back. I made one of the first, I think I made the second software ever where you could put ads on your web pages, the same way that you can add Google ads, but they would use a service called ClickBank, where you can get a lot more money than you would get paid out from Google ads. I don't know if you've ever seen on the internet where people sell something at a certain price, and every time someone makes a sale of that, the price goes up by a few cents, kind of like an auction. I invented that. I was the first person to do that, and I know that because before me, no one else did it, and even after I stopped doing it, now everyone's doing it, at least in my specific little niche of the internet. But if you just go a little bit outside of that, then it's completely wide open. It's still very much the wild, wild west, where a lot of people don't really know these advanced techniques. They don't know about building a list, having a niche, having a follow-up sequence, using split testing, writing a real sales letter, having online video, webinars, membership sites, drip content. So much of this stuff is unknown, is brand new. So whatever your niche out there is, whether your niche is WordPress plugins, or your niche is how to learn a new language. We have many students like that. If your niche is something like hypnosis, it doesn't matter what it is that you have a skill in, people want it. And it's just a degree of how much they want it, and it's your job to figure out what does everyone need that is under met, I guess, or under provided, right? And so for me, that was that people didn't really have an easy way to plug and play these things into their sales letters. They didn't have this corner ad page peel kind of a script or this kind of a plugin. And so then I created that. Or I didn't have a ClickBank AdSense kind of script, so I created that. And what was really great for me is right when this thing called WordPress, which is a software that allows you to blog and to create an online journal and use it to create a membership site or a sales letter. When this thing called WordPress was brand new, or at least was finally becoming mainstream, at least with internet marketers, I made a product on WordPress. And it was awesome because everyone was just jumping on this, but there were way too many choices. Everyone else made it way too difficult in the same way I've told you before, where when I first came out with PHP products on how to program, no one else had in video, or everyone tried to teach every little single nook and cranny, and I just want to get you from point A to point B, give it the how-to step-by-step sequence. So in that same way that me making videos about PHP programming was very helpful and made me a lot of money, WordPress was brand new. So I thought, great, WordPress is brand new, and I found maybe like 2 or 3 competitors who had just really crappy reports on WordPress. And they were okay, but I was able to secure the rights, buy the rights to those, and then I created my very own videos. I made videos on how to use WordPress, and then because I'm a programmer and I can't help it, I showed different ways to kind of tweak WordPress, to tweak this blogging platform to do what it is you want. And I also showed people this very in-demand skill of how to create a plugin. Because what happened once was I put out one of my PHP scripts. So PHP scripts, if you don't know, they're these things where back in the dark ages of the internet, I'd give you pretty much a zip file, and it would contain code, right? Programming language. And you'd have to get this, what's called a zip file, unzip it, get what's called FTP client, and maybe you've heard these words, maybe not, it's okay, but you had FTP client, upload files, sometimes do this thing called setting permissions on files, sometimes edit files, sometimes set up a database and go under your site's backend. And this is great for me because I was paid to install these scripts, which was sometimes I charge $50 or $100 for 5 minutes of work, which is pretty awesome when you're 17 years old. But then this thing came along called WordPress. With WordPress, you can go into your site's control panel, click a couple of buttons, and it's set up. Database, the files, everything. And people would create plugins. And if you wanted to add a plugin, you just search for the name of the plugin in WordPress, click a button, it's installed, it downloads it, everything. If you want to install a new plugin, click on a button that says upload, it's installed everything. Now, it wasn't always this easy, but now it is. Now it's pretty much point and click. So like I said before, if you want to create a pop-up box, click a button, it's on your blog. I almost guarantee you that there is a page peel plugin for WordPress available for free, and all you have to do is search for page peel. So the hardest part is just knowing what to call something. And I know many people who go around the internet looking for new plugins to install or looking for new blog posts about plugins to install. But the point of all this is that when this was brand new, then this was a really hot topic. And so I made a training course showing how to use WordPress, how to get ranked in search engines, which plugins to use, and even how to create your own plugins. It was really popular. It was so popular, well, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it was a very in-demand topic, and also I kind of had a lot of fun with marketing it. And I think that if you have fun with your marketing and you do things that maybe kind of are newsworthy, as we talked about in the copywriting podcast, which was episode 2, how to sell anything online using the magic of copywriting. If you can present what you're coming out with as something brand new and newsworthy, then it's going to generate a lot of interest, a lot of attention. So what happened there was WordPress is brand new, and I limited the number of copies I sold. So I said, well, here's this video course. It's got written stuff. It's got plugins. And it's $13.33. I'm limiting it to 33 people. And then that sold out in a few hours. And then I opened it back up for, I want to say, $18.88, limited to 80 copies, sold out in a few hours. I think I updated that to $33.33, sold out in a few hours the next day. $44.44, sold out again. So I did this thing where I would open this product up for sale at a certain price and limit it to a certain number of copies and then close it back up. And at the time, this was like, totally unheard of, totally crazy, but it was a lot of fun. And now people do that kind of thing all the time. And it's just a matter of because in a way, you're kind of being a public relations person. And so anyway, long story short, I made $8,000 in about, I want to say, a week and a half from selling that course, from finding a need that people wanted solved and needed to have because they needed to have websites and blogs, needed to be ranked highly in search engines. And I knew how to show people that, and I would argue that I knew how to show people that better than anyone else. And it was also a matter of right place, right time, and also good marketing. So $8,000 in a week and a half, but wait, there's more. I didn't stop there. I also implemented this thing called resale rights. If you haven't heard of resale rights, you can go to a site called master-resale-rights.com. master-resale-rights, master-resale-rights.com. So that's a site, it's not my site, where you can pay money and in return get a fully done information product that you can sell. Many of these come with software, come with videos, come with download pages already made, come with sales letters so they'll already sell. You just have to plug in your payment button. Some of them come with promotional emails and all kinds of crazy stuff. These sites will tell you what year the product was made. So for example, if you're trying to buy the rights, in this case for a WordPress product, and it's a technical kind of deal, and it's a couple of years out of date, you might not want to buy it. On the other hand, if you're buying a course on hypnosis or time management or self-help, well, then that's not really going to go out of date. So even if it's a couple of years old, even maybe 5 years old or older, it's still okay to buy. But the point is, I sold this thing called resale rights, and there's different kinds of rights. There's like this thing called private label rights, master resale rights, resale rights. I just sold resale rights to keep it simple. And I said, I think it was for $100 a piece. Maybe 200. I really can't remember at this point. But I set up another web page, and I said, well, if you look at, I made this number of sales in this amount of time, Based on that, this sales letter, this web page converts at this percentage, which means that if someone comes to this website, here's the percent likeliness basically that they'll buy. If I send 100 people there and eight people will buy at $50. And I said, well, I'm also going to throw in, so I'm going to throw in the exact product, the videos, the download page, the sales letter, even the emails that I used to market the product, even some articles I wrote to market the product. So I was pretty much selling a business in a box, and that sold an extra $8,000 in another week. And it was perfect timing because it was right before going off to a seminar, to an offline internet marketing event. And so, I mean, not too bad. $16,000, and I think it was about 3 weeks total. When all was said and done, I was about 23 years old at the time, and I was about a year into my first and my only, knock on wood so far, day job, and that's not bad, right? So that's really, and that was years ago, and now it's even easier for us because I have a bigger list, I have more products, we have this technology for things called webinars, we can create huge membership sites, but you know what, every now and then, I still will create a small product. That sound means time for some visitor shoutouts. What you can do personally right now is go on down to robertplankshow.com. That's RobertPlankshow, and go ahead and like the Robert Plank Show podcast on Facebook, and I will mention your name on the show. So we'll get to the names in about 2 seconds. Alright, without further ado, let's figure out who are the latest fans of the Robert Plank Show. We have about 235 likes this week, so I'm going to read through them very fast, and maybe, next week there'll be less likes and you'll stand out even more. So we have a big thank you to Mr. John Morris, the first liker from Iowa, Dennis Rosenberg, John Racine Jr., Luis Eddington, Gary Huff, Paul Candu Irvine, Sonia Solons, Rachel Newport, Lester Lim, Chris Howard, Mohammed Raidani, Ray Perry, Phil Johncock, Tara Kachataroff, Rose Anderson, Jim Sari, Harry Price, Abba Elijah, Isaiah Jackson, Paul Taubman II, Greg Miller, Dan Maines, Kimberly Sheridan, Leah Fish, Mary Wilhite, Elias Katabi, I know I'm butchering these names, Andrew Edelman, Everett Patterson, Judy Jackson, Robert Vance, Jackson Clare, Robbie LeBlanc, Donna Mayer, Gail Richardson, Monique Cloutier, Catherine Treble, Sunil Sahani, Mike McKay, Zicky Name, Mr. Rick Butts, keynote speaker, Vernon Jeter, Mitch Powell, Margaret Carlton, Edgar Bateman III, Artagine Skipper, Jeff Moreau, Diane Daniels, Marianne Krajkovic, Mark Cummings, Ronnie Horowitz, Roger Eastlick, Matthew Peters with The Real Estate Book, Mark Hardy, 30-Minute PR, Tim Jensen, The Music Player, Dan Safkow, Lene Chapman, Spencer Chun, Darren Scott Monroe, Wes Blaylock, Stephen Davies, Tina Grunner, Skip Grunner, Chris Bennett, Tony Riley, Herschel Lawhorn, Bruce Arnold, Phil Henry, Derek Allen, Frank Dearduff III, Dale Anderson, John Deck, Michael Klass, Marshall Bone, Sherm Cohen, Amit Bhavsar, Carol Farb, Stan Fields, Teresa Waggar, Dan Martin, John Braun, Jeff Davis, Kim Rhodes, Rita Dalian, Jeremy Ginn, Mary Gallagher, Josh Shoemaker, Lucegello Hudson, Joanna Hand, Caroline Musica, Georgianne Hewitt, Sherry Beck, Ken Tullo, Morris Murphy, Amos Patterson, Sally Savasco, Colorado Connector, interesting name, Peg Behrens, John Stiles, Bill Davis, Renee Harrington, Sujeho Talaman, Adam Homey, Help My Website Convert More Gooder, Colin Jeffrey, Larry Loic, James Brown, Christopher Vogelman, Renee Remington, Agul Erali, Maisie Martin, Anita Cohen-Williams, thanks for seeing you at San Diego, Lynn Jordan, Cameron Cross, Mohammed Hazip, James Lesaint, Richard Peterson, Balt Elun Zen, Gold Muscle Paul, Artist Starks, Lynn Carey, Nedco Aldev, Ray Gomes, Brenton Halupka, Dennis Baracus, Tony Rayhor, Keith Luxton, Pauline Bergeron, Yvonne Lyon, Nancy Gillilands, Craig Page, Greg Wright, Jim Barry, Brian Arnold, Claire Cook, Paul Chirvils Grierson, Paul Williams, Steve Ramsey, Galena Rossetti, Carrie Klingo, Ben Percy, Yanni Baracus, Aaron Net Kickstart, Colin Weeb, Tiger Lily Houdini, I'm sure that's your birth name, Brad Dixon, Hannah Tears Don't Fall, Ixia Non-Contaminated, interesting name again, Leslie Jean Son, Paul Klein, Susie LaFanu, Sandy Fleming, Colvin Kelton, Rodriguez Nelson, Mandy Bushnell, Sujeto Tan, Sergio Chavez, Kiera Barufi, Peter Beatty, Judy Lozan, Trisha Surrett, Corey Perdue, Sudwinder Singh, Nicholas, Sal Foxer, Cutcliffe, Sherry Moore, Amit Patel, Kelly Kallstrom, Graham Sutherland, Joe Hatfield, and I'm going to get back to the show, and we're going to get to the rest of the names a little bit later just to get back to the action. So I'll see you in just 1 second. When people think about products, many people think about reports. And you know what? Reports make good money too. A couple of years ago, I was at an airport. I had a 90-minute layover. I sat down on my laptop and I typed out a report called Membership Sites on Crack. It's about how to make a really simple membership site. And that product I sold for $7, and I sold a couple hundred copies because I had a list, because I had a sales letter, because I had an automated download process, and that sold, I think, I want to say just over $1,000. Oh no, $2,000. It was sold $1,000 the first week, and then throughout the rest of that month, it became to $2,000 total. And then, so that was a $7 product. It was maybe like I think a 20-page report, and then I had an upsell on the back end into what's called a recurring membership site, into a monthly program that someone else took care of, but I got an affiliate commission. More on that later, I guess. So $2,000 in a month from a 90-minute layover, start to finish. Just typed out a report about what I knew. 7-step sequence, a step-by-step plan to going from nothing to setting up all the important pieces of a membership site. But it wasn't just an encyclopedia. It wasn't just a bunch of thrown together facts about membership sites. It was, here's the exact how-to sequence on how to do it, the easiest stuff, the quickest stuff, the basics at the beginning, and then over time, then you can add to it, and so people kind of get results as they go along. So $2,000, and then what I did after that month was I sold resale rights to that for $97, and I limited that to 20 copies. So that meant that someone could come to my site and pay me $100 in exchange for a $7 product, which was a report, in exchange for also having a sales letter, a download page, promotional emails. I might have thrown in maybe like a couple of bonus videos or something as well, but another $2,000 from the same amount of work, if you can call it that. If you can call screwing around on my laptop, waiting for an airplane, which you probably do all the time, or you at least screw around on your laptop, watching YouTube videos, surfing the web, answering emails, Facebook, you're still typing, you're still creating stuff, so why not create stuff that'll actually make you money, as opposed to sites like Facebook, which have what I call throwaway content. Here's what I mean. Can you search your Facebook profile? Not really, at least not at the time we're making this podcast. If you have even, can you search a friend's Facebook wall, Facebook timeline, Facebook group? Heck no. The point of, Facebook and social media, Twitter even, they're news sites. So people go there and they don't look back into the past more than a couple of days. Just in the same way that no one really looks at no one looks at last year's newspaper, right? Unless they're doing some kind of research. So on sites like Facebook, you put the information out there and then it's useless in a few days. It's gone. But the point of an information product is that it still is valid a year from now, 5 years from now? And since we're talking about some of these things are technical, yeah, you might have to go back and update your product a little bit, or maybe re-record version 2.0 in a year. But for the most part, stuff doesn't really go too much out of date. So before we get too off on a tangent, we're talking today about product creation. We're talking today about how to make it in 48 hours and how to sell 1,000 copies, because I've sold 1,000 copies of many, many, many different software products and many different information products and web classes and things like that. So, because I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I have an information product called Fast Food Copywriting. I've sold over 1,000 copies of that. It teaches people how to create a sales letter in, I want to say, 1 hour, 90 minutes. I want to say about an hour, and then just to like polish it up, about 90 minutes. I have a course called Time Management on Crack. I've sold well over 1,000 copies of that one, and that shows people. I have 23 different systems on how to create an online video, create a product, create a sales letter. I mean, are you starting to see a pattern here? I systematize not everything, but those handful of things that make me the most money. We have sold, at the time, once again, time of recording, I think about 4,500 copies of our plugin called Backup Creator. That's been used on thousands and thousands more sites than that, but just as far as number of copies sold, 4,500. So all these things that I created, here's the secret, I didn't really want to create them. And it sounds kind of weird, right? But that's how they all came to be. I didn't think, well, what product should I make? Let me think. No, I realized that people were starting to use WordPress, that people needed help with WordPress. And I was basically, for lack of a better term, getting annoyed that people kept asking me the same questions over and over about WordPress, so I had to make an information product all about it. When I create products like Fast Copywriting and Time Management on Crack, I was pretty much in both cases making a checklist of what I was doing. Because many times we'll develop a system for something without really realizing it, don't we? Maybe you have a system for clearing out your email. Maybe you have a system for the way that you personally run a webinar, run a teleseminar. Maybe you have a set of skills that go into a certain niche. I think I've told you. One of our students is in the embroidery niche, which is really weird, right? And apparently with embroidery, you put 5 seconds into this step of the process, 10 seconds into this step of the process, 2 seconds into this other step. There's like 88 steps that it takes to embroider something. And this person, Joyce Jagger, discovered how to, for example, if one step took 10 seconds, to turn it into 3 seconds. If one step took 15 seconds, she could turn that into 8 seconds. And so she had this Excel spreadsheet, and she would go to different embroidery businesses and show them how to cut their time in half, if not even more, as far as making embroidery. So this was her system. In the same way that when I figured out how to write sales copy, I had to write it in a short amount of time because I was pressed for time. Because I had a day job, because I had other things to do, right? I had more other things to get to. So I could do things in a short amount of time, but it wasn't really fun. Because I had to, for lack of a better term, expend a lot of brain power. In the same way that when I'm talking to you here, I mean, if you've probably spoken something, right? If you talk to someone on the phone for an hour, it's exhausting, right? During this podcast, it's exhausting. Fun, but exhausting. And that's kind of, you can't really avoid that because we're kind of freestyling here. But when you have to write stuff, I mean, you do get tired. So it's more fun to just go through a checklist. It's more fun for me to put in every little, for lack of a better term, mind state trick in order to write a sales letter. And by that, I mean, as part of that course, I have a list of questions. And, I have, for example, one question might be, why do I need your product right this second? Why do I need it right now? What do other people think about your product? And if you remember the episode 2 podcast about copywriting, these were all important components of a sales letter. But when we word things in kind of a fun, clever way, when we ask questions, well, now we're just answering questions, right? I mean, I've got to the point where I had writer's block that was so bad that I opened up an instant messenger and started instant messaging myself. Many times I have been posting on message boards and maybe been in an argument or saw someone post something and I just completely disagreed with. And I ended up writing a response on this public discussion board, and the response ended up getting so long that I was like, well, this is too long to put on a message board, because just like with social media sites, things get buried. Things become out of date. Post something on Facebook, try to find it in a year from now, good luck. Post something on a message board, try to find it in a month from now, good luck. So many of my products were born as forum posts. And what happened was the forum post became too long, or I gave away too much good stuff. And I said, well, this is more like a blog post to put on my site. Put it on a blog post, and I was like, well, now it's too good to give away for free. And I want you to kind of think about what that means, is that you have information that's just too darn good to give away for free. And I mean, I'm not saying that in like a selfish, greedy kind of way. But I mean, for example, if I can show you a way to create 100 articles in 6 hours, as we've discussed, and make a product, you should pay for that. It's just too good to have it out there in the open, where if it's out there in the open, people aren't going to assign a value to it, and people aren't going to use it. And doggone it, it's just worth that much. It just is. So that's a really powerful system, and I know that whatever niche you're in is too good to give away for free. Joyce Jagger has this knowledge of embroidery, and if a local business, an embroidery business, who maybe has hard costs, maybe is struggling, if she can double their profits, or if she can save them from going out of business, well, then now what's it worth? It's worth something, and that's what you should be driving it to. So before we continue any further, I want to share with you the productivity tip of the day. Alright, good stuff. Today's productivity tip of the day is brought to you by Time Management on Crack.com. Mentioned it before. This is the course that you need if you're overwhelmed, if you're struggling, if you're not sure what to do next, if you're unhappy, angry, tired, always running out of time. Time Management on Crack.com. Today's productivity tip is do it because you want to. So here's what I mean. When I write a sales letter, when I write an article, heck, when I write anything, when I'm recording this podcast, when I run a webinar, when I create a product, a website, I do it because I want to. And it's so important for you to decide that you do want to do something, instead of just kind of tricking yourself or forcing yourself to do it. Because if you force yourself to do something, then you're not going to repeat it. So here's a good example. Let's just say something simple like taking out the garbage. If you look at that garbage, that overflowing garbage can, well, you really don't want to do it, do you? And if you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to bundle up this garbage and I hate doing it and it stinks and it's heavy and why can't someone else do it? You really get to the curb. That's really not helping anyone. But if you think a little bit differently, and you think, well, you know what, I have a family, and I'm going to feel so good when I take out this garbage because I'm helping my family. And now they don't have to do it, or my wife doesn't have to do it, or my husband, or whatever. You're thinking, well, I'm going to feel so good just looking at that garbage can and seeing a clean garbage can. Or you know what, I know it's the right thing to do, and so it's going to happen. So if there's something that you have to do, doesn't matter what it is, and you don't want to do it, instead of just skipping that step and forcing yourself, instead choose to want to do it, and then do it, and justify it somehow, and you'll have a lot more fun, I guarantee it. Alright, we are back to the action. Creating an information product, and there's been a lot of build-up, and that's intentional, because I just want you to understand that I get really excited about making a product. And maybe that's kind of sad, but I mean, you should be excited too because you're building your own business, you're helping others, and you're generating money that's your money. It's money that you generated from your knowledge, your expertise, your hard work, I want to say. Except it's not really that hard, is it? You're not digging a ditch. You're talking, making a video, writing something down, and that's what making a product is all about. It's just hitting the record button and just doing it. So let's figure out a couple of steps here. Let me just take 1 second and write a few things down. So when you make a product, first you need to have a niche. We've discussed a niche in previous calls. So a niche is where you have just an area of expertise, right? Video poker, how to play video poker and win is a niche. How to lose weight is a niche. WordPress security is a niche. Membership sites, niche. Embroidery, niche. So you're kind of trying to find a topic where there's probably at least a shelf at the bookstore or at Amazon.com category about what it is that you have to help people with, because that's kind of the first thing about niche selection is if you choose something just for fun, then you're not really contributing, you're not really helping people. And if you decide on an area and you can't really explain to someone in half a sentence or in a couple of words or in a phrase what your niche is, then it's not nailed down enough. And I mean, even if you look at, books on cooking, easy to figure out what that is. Books on programming, easy to figure out what it is. But even in the more nebulous area, like if you think about the chicken soup for the soul books, well, that's self-help. And so when we're talking about making a product, I'm talking about making an information product, and specifically one to make money online. So we're not necessarily, actually, let's just say we're not making a book. Okay? We just aren't. We're making a how-to product. And the reason why I tell you to make a how-to product is because, well, it's going to be shorter, it's going to be easier for you to make, it's going to take less time, and you're going to be able to charge a lot more money. A book that sits on the bookshelf is $15 or less. Or on Kindle, it's $9. But a how-to book, a course, what does that cost? Well, it depends on what it is. I know that, being in the computer science industry, that they would we would go to, I think I went to a week-long course once, and I think my employer paid $5,000 for that. And I went over into Silicon Valley, and we met for maybe 6 hours a day, and at the end took a test. So a week to get certified in this one area, $5,000. And that same training company that my employer paid, they gave even more advanced classes. And I looked at their price sheet, and they had programs that cost $30,000 for 1 day of instruction. I'm sure they went even higher than that, So there's a lot of money to be made in how-to, because it's valuable to other people. If someone reads a book, like a book stand kind of book, I hate to generalize, but let's just explain this. People read a book because they're bored, because Oprah said to, or some other talk show host said to, or they want to know about the economy, but they're not willing to get a pressing need solved. We want you to find a pressing need. In my case, people want to know how to make WordPress plugins, so they have a pressing need. They have a membership site, and they want to know how to get it all set up properly, how to take payments, how to drip it out. That is an important need, because without me, they don't make money. With me, they make money. So the great thing about a pressing need is it has a lot of components built in that you need to make a sale. If something's a really important need right now, if someone needs to lose 10 pounds right now, there's the built-in urgency already. They know it's important. They're willing to justify some amount of money. It's just a matter of how much for what they get. They've done a lot of the selling for you. They've done a lot of talking themselves into something for you. When there's a pressing need, you can make an argument very easily, because you can show testimonies, you can show case studies, you can explain why this is so darn important. If it's a pressing need, hopefully it's something that you've done, and it's very clear when someone has completed that goal, which means that all you have to do is figure out where are they starting, where are they finishing, and then break that down into easy step-by-step pieces. So, let's think about this for 1 second. If I have a course on WordPress, for those of you listening who know about this thing called WordPress, it's a blogging platform. So I can kind of draw 2 dots, one on the far left, one on the far right, point A, point B. Point A is they have no website. So they have no website, and that's another thing, is that we also want to be practical. And having a how-to product forces you to be practical. I'm not giving people the encyclopedia of WordPress. I'm not giving a textbook definition of every single thing. There are many things we skip over, and that's completely fine. That's the kind of product we're making. That's the kind of product you're going to make. You're going to make one that, for lack of a better term, cuts corners. Where everyone else fills in all the gaps, all the nooks and crannies. No, you just want to get people from point A to point B. And maybe if you have a report on WordPress for $10, and it gets people set up with WordPress in an hour, well then they're going to hop on that all day long because they say, I can get this done in an hour for $10, or pay $200 and it'll take me all month to figure it all out. So time and place for both kinds of things. But point A, no website. Point B, they have a WordPress site. Hey, it's time to read off the rest of those names, get to the rest of those shout-outs of people who have liked the Robert Plank Show. Not just liked it in a personal sense, but liked it by going to Facebook, our Facebook fan page at robertplankshow.com. I want to give a special shout-out to Sandy Mack. Thanks for liking us. Christina Osh, Chris Pills, Carl Grunts, Jeanette Turcotti, Ed Barkhouse Sr., Ian Archer, Yusuf Clack, Angel Anderson, Mark Richards, Eli Delaney, Randy McGrath, John Williams, Helen Raptopoulos, Nancy Trepanier, Shannon Sandquist, Jose Gonzalez, Kenz Dempsey, Ferris Andrian, Kareem Rombley, Paul Luna, Christopher Ryan, Jenny Parnell, Brian Delaney, Kirsten Green, TV Aguirre, James Simpson, Oscar Cortez, Zenita Batlak, Isaac Orim Ogunje, Ron Marshall, Cody Laguirre, Humberto No Avila Pavone, J-Rock Short, Shannon Honning, James Christopher Goodwin, John Edwards Martin, Valverde, Sophie Venchita, Anna Fouls, Kaushik, Majumdar, Ron Herman, Jason Craig, Matt Dietrich, Scott Stiles, Truly Cruelly, Eddie Means, Lucky, Inurin, David Pollard, Adam Jeeves, Yan Pro, Jeremy Anderson, Masood Kaharaman, Timothy Layfair, Gerald Nate Tohow, Good Compressions, CPR First Aid, great name, Lawrence Robertson, John Von Hoff, Colin Scow, Bobby Andrea Banda Stormcaller, Obang Sika, and last but not leastest, Dean Rainey. Thanks for being a fan. You can be a fan too by going to robertplankshow.com. Click the like button, and I'll mention you in the very next podcast. So let me just think about, well, if we can fill in 7 components in between point A and point B, then that'll be what we want. And so 7 is kind of a big number, kind of a tall order to fill. So what I'm going to do is, so I've drawn a point A, point B, drawn a line connecting one to the other. Above that line, I'm going to put the number 4, and below that, I'm going to put the number 3. And we're going to list 4 really important things about WordPress, and 3 things that are important but not mission critical. So let's think about this. So and the reason for this is because this will allow us to think of 7 things. But there's going to be like the A level stuff and the B level stuff, and it's not necessarily going to go in this order. We reorder in a second, but it's tough to think of 7 things. It's easy to think of 4 really important things and 3 somewhat important things. So we've listed point A to point B, right? Point A is having no website. Point B is having a WordPress website, and then we're going to above that line think of 4 items. Not even thinking about the order yet, just 4 things there, and then 3 things that are slightly less important. So 4 things, we need to figure out WordPress theme, which is the design, which plugins to use, how to set up WordPress, and if I had to think of one other thing, maybe just how to add content, right? So if we were forced to just write about those 4 things, then that would be a pretty kick-ass report, kick-ass product. But it would be kind of short. and we can just put a little more into it. Let me just think of 3 other things that will just help us a tiny bit more. And let me list membership site, because you can use, there are some free plugins and some even better paid plugins will allow you to take payments for turn a WordPress blog into a membership site. We're going to have a module on sales letter opt-in page. I'll just lump that in the one category, and we'll maybe that's part of the report where we mention a plugin, or instead of plugin or a theme called Optimize Press or something like that, where we can just instead of going into length about it, explain the concept, show some screenshots, and say, here's my affiliate link to buy this. And we need one more. So we've got membership site, sales letter, opt-in page, and maybe just the user functionality. Because did you know? Oh shoot. Yeah, user functionality. Because did you know you can actually give people partial access to your blog? Because as a administrator of a WordPress site, you're the administrator, right? You control everything. But you can add extra login and say this person can add posts to the blog, but they can't do anything. They can't mess with plugins. They can't delete stuff. They can submit a new post, right? You can have people who also are called contributors, who can give you posts for approval, and so they can write posts, they can write draft posts, but you are the only one who can publish them. So let's talk about that. Talk about users, and this actually is kind of similar to my WordPress on Crack course, which is the one where I made $8,000 in a week and a half, then $8,000 in a week after that. So let's order this sucker, right? So we listed all these things, and so I'm going to say, well, looking at all my 7 bullet points, my 4 on top, 3 on the bottom, I'm going to say the first logical step is to set up a WordPress blog, because you can't do anything else besides that. So I'm going to put a number 1 next to setup. And then after that, what we'll do is, so now I have a decision to make. It's, do I want to teach content first, how to add content, or plugins in the theme? I think I'm going to teach content. And that's up to you, but I kind of like to stand out by teaching people how to kind of do the practical, ugly stuff, and then go back and make it pretty. And then from there, I'll do plugins, and then I'll do the theme. Okay, so we've got that, and then in the other part, let's then go to number 5, users, number 6, sales letter, number 7, membership site. So for those of you following along at home, we just outlined our WordPress product, and I don't like chapters. That's one thing I discovered early on, because chapter sounds like I'm trying to make it 10, 20 pages. It sounds like a textbook. I prefer sections, to be honest. So Section 1, set up WordPress. Section 2, add content. Section 3, plugins. Section 4, the theme. Section 5, users. Section 6, sales letter. Section 7, membership site. So we've ordered that in a very logical step-by-step sequence, starting with the basic stuff, but also they get a lot set up in a short amount of time. Now, because you are keeping in mind this entire time that this is a how-to information product, there's no filler. There's no thinking. I noticed we didn't have a chapter called The Introduction to WordPress. We didn't have a chapter called What WordPress is and is not for. No, first chapter, set up WordPress. So we're not going for length. Okay, and I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere, but we're going for getting it done in the shortest amount of time. And many times even our good friend Andy Erickson made a short, I want to say 20-page report about how to create a logo in 5 minutes. It's called 5-Minute Logo. How to create a logo in 5 minutes without Photoshop. And this was just a simple report, mostly screenshots, on how to use a free tool called GIMP, G-I-M-P, and how to choose your font, create a little cute design, make a logo in 5 minutes, and it's 20 pages, mostly screenshots, because we're not going for length, we're not filling pages, it's just, can I condense this down into the simplest format so that someone gets to a predefined goal? Okay, we're not writing War and Peace. We are getting people from point A to point B. So same thing with this. So with this membership site report, and even Lance Tomashiro created a report called Facebook Fan Pages for Business. I think we called it Set Up a Fan Page 1.0, and then created a bigger course around that. But his original book was 15 pages, Now, if you remove screenshots, it's probably like 2 pages. But he showed you how to set up what's called a fan page on Facebook and get your first few fans. And he said, go here, click this, fill in this. Here's what this is. Here's why you say this, step by step. There was literally nothing else to add or take out. It was exactly what it needed to be, and it solved people's problems. So there's a couple of important points so far I want to make sure that you get before we kind of wrap this up. Is first of all, you find a common need, right? Creating a logo is a common need, especially when you can justify, well, you could go and pay this person this amount of money, or just figure it out yourself. Just follow my system, and it's going to be better because you did it. Writing a sales letter, same idea. Maybe you have a course on how to write a book quickly. Maybe you're like me and you have a course on how to make a WordPress plugin quickly. A course on, we have, what's her name? Michelle Schoen has a course on how to record videos quickly and easily. So there's no limit to the kind of things that people need to know. So you find a common need. Now that need, that means that if people need it, then that crowd is hungry for that information, and so you just solve just that one solution. Now, in the future, if you want to bundle products together, bundle reports together, or make a multi-week course, that's great, but that's just more stepping stones, right? That's just more, every module is getting someone from point A to point B in that module. So we're not looking for a bloat, we're looking for what are called one product, one solution systems, right? So setting up a Facebook fan page, they start off with no Facebook fan page. Maybe they have a Facebook account. Maybe they don't start from scratch, but they have a Facebook account. And it's the same thing with my WordPress course, right? They probably I'm going to assume they start off with a website. Maybe they own a domain name, have web hosting, but they don't know about this thing called WordPress. So they start off there, and then they end with this. Having a WordPress website, having a Facebook fan page, and then that's the end of the product. So that way you know when you're done, they know when they're done, and if you create some other product, so maybe now you make a product on how to get 20,000 fans to your Facebook fan page, that's the next product, but you did your job, you just got them from point A to point B. So we figure that out, and actually, really quickly, I'm gonna draw 4 circles, right? And they're going to like one on top, one below, and the important thing is they're so close together and overlapping that they all overlap, and all 4 circles kind of have one section where they all meet in the middle. And I'm going to write down in one circle, I'm going to say, let's just say, they need it, they want it, and then another circle, you're good at it, and then another circle is where we say you enjoy it. So we have 4 circles. They need it, they want it, you enjoy it, and you're good at it. And what you want to find is some topic where it fulfills all of these needs, right? Because if someone needs it but they don't want it, then they're not going to buy it. If they want it but they don't need it, maybe they'll buy it, but find something that people both want and need. I mean, I might make a goofy WordPress plugin that some people want, but no one's survival depends on it, like even like the survival of their business. But you make, for example, a WordPress membership plugin that people can make money from, and without it they'd have no business. Now they both want it and they need it. And then as far as you're concerned, well, if you're good at it but you hate it, that's no fun. So we want something for you, something that you both enjoy and you do good with. So that is your niche, okay? You figure out your niche, you figure out your solution, your one product, your one solution, figure out your 7-part step-by-step system. And if you can't think of 7, then break it into 4 and 3. And usually it works out to, and you end up reordering it, but it works out to the 4 are the basic. Is the basic half of your product. The 3 are like now the base is set up. Now what's the fancy stuff? So you have basically your outline, even though I hate that term, but I mean, let's just go with outline. And now what do you do? Well, you start off with now we're at this point, right? So you start off with setting up a WordPress blog. By the end of that step, they're set up. Now step 2 is the content. But do you want to just jump into how to do it? Well, I would say jump into it sooner rather than later, but at least have a couple of paragraphs ahead of time kind of telling people what to do. And This is one of those acronyms where no one knows who invented this, but it's called WWHW. And if you want to write this down, this is why, what, how, what if. Sounds like a lot to remember, but think about it like this. So why, what, how, what if. Why, what, how, what if. So think about it like this. The how to, or the how is also what we call how to. That's going to be like 90% of this section. Not chapter, but section, right? And the what if is more like the review and the checklist, and now let's kind of get you to the next chapter. So those last two are really simple, right? How to and what if, that's just get right to it. And those first two, that's the introduction. And when I say introduction, I mean just a couple paragraphs, that's it, because I've seen people teach why, what, how to, what if. I've seen people use it, and they try to space it apart equally. And what you end up having is a section where you have 7-8 pages of talking and 1 page of doing. We don't want that. We want mostly doing. But we need to give people a little tiny bit of an introduction so that they know what they're building up towards, right? So why means, well, now, like, why is this so important? Like, let's get to this. Where does this one piece sit in the whole entire system, right? So we say, okay, well, we're gonna add content to our WordPress blog. Well, why is this important? Because without content, you have nothing. You don't have a site on the internet. You don't have search engine traffic. People don't have anything to go to. And then the what is, I don't know. I hate that term what, because the what is the, so we first said the importance, right? That's the why. The what is the overview, basically. But we're not really getting into it yet. But just that first, not even a whole page, a couple of paragraphs, go to the why, which is like, this is the third part of it. Here's why it's important, and then the what is now we're explaining what this is. And man, it's so hard to explain this without using the words why or what, which is why I'm kind of stumbling here. But we're starting off with why and what is the intro, and then how to and what if is the actual, just show me how it's done, right? So the how to is going to be the bulk of your chapter, and the what if is at the very end, the call to action, the checklist, whatever it is that you want to call it. And so it's really cool the way this works, because once you get to the end of your product, now you can have an upsell. And if you don't know how to get an upsell, go to a site called ClickBank, type in the name of your niche. So if you have, let's say you have a core report on how to improve your memory. Right? So for people who are about to take a test or who need to study something, make a report on how to improve your memory. Is that a hot seller? I have no idea. But I guarantee that if you go to a site like ClickBank and you search for memory, or maybe there's some other term you should search for, but you could find some high converting affiliate program. And that way, even if you only have an afternoon to make this product, at the end of every section, you're telling people what to do. You're leading people up to the next section. But in that final section, well, now what should they do? Well, now they should go and buy this bigger course that someone else created, right? So it's a very logical kind of sell. So we had 7 pieces, and every section is arranged into why, what, how to, what if, but I'm just telling you that how to, 90% of your content right there. And it's very easy, especially when you are showing something like software. If you're showing something like real estate and you're putting in like your pictures, and maybe your product is a case study on how you flipped a house for X number of dollars. Show the ad in the paper, how you selected that home. Show a screenshot, or maybe even give people like whatever forms you used to acquire that home. Then show how you listed it on the marketplace. Then show whatever steps are in there as far as selling the home. And then there you go. Now that's a report on how you flipped that house, and then here's a link to this other affiliate, or my affiliate link towards someone else's bigger real estate course. Now in a minute I'm going to explain to you what exact tools you should use to make your product, but first we're going to get to the thought of the day. So my thought of the day today is, are you leaking content out of your ears yet? And that's kind of I don't know, maybe a gross visual, but that's the way you need to think about it. I mean, if you look at my blog, which is robertplank.com, I have posted, I hope I'm still posting, but I posted every month at least since 2008. At the time I'm recording this, I email my subscriber list every single day. When someone new comes to my list, they get an automatic sequence every day for 30 days talking to me. I have over 1,000 pages of sales copy online, hundreds of products, and the reason for that is because, frankly, I'm impatient. I don't want to have to wait 1 year for a product to come out. I want to make money right now and see what sells, and if something sells well, then I will continue to sell it. And that's what I think information marketing is all about, is you have an idea. And thinking about it all day long isn't really going to help you. What will help you is to put it out there and see if anyone buys it. Honestly, I had no idea if anyone would buy a course about WordPress. Sounds silly today, but back in the day when this was new, we had no idea. Many software products that I thought were kick-ass completely bombed. Many software products that I thought were terrible turned out to be really popular. So you can get excited about something all day long, you can think about it all day long, but unless your marketplace likes it as well, then you're screwed. I mean, think about even tablet computers. HP, Hewlett-Packard, and I think even Microsoft put out computer tablets, which is just like basically a giant portable monitor that you can touch without a keyboard. And they put them out years ago, and nobody wanted them. But then you wait 5 years, the internet's faster, there are applications for this, the technology is lighter and cheaper, and internet service is better, and boom, Apple invents the iPad and makes billions and billions of dollars. So without your marketplace, you're not really going to make money. But if you make money, then you can continue funding your information marketing lifestyle. You can continue making products. So my question is, are you leaking content out of your ears yet? Do you have so much stuff coming out? I mean, even just an article a day, even just a blog post a month, just to see where the marketplace is at, what the marketplace wants, and based on that, you can then narrow that down. Now that you know what they want, now you can know what you can provide, if that makes sense. So now let's get to how exactly do you make an information product. Alright, good stuff, good stuff. Now, the tools to create an information product, there's not really that much to it. Either you can create a video product or a report. And I would say if you're brand new, make a report. Make just a really simple report, because there's less money involved and there's less second guessing. I know that when I first created video products, I kept having to stop and redo videos. So if it's your first product, make a simple report. Make a 10-page report, because I know that when I started, no one told me how long to make my product, and I kept on guessing, and that held me back for months. So make a 10-page report. Sell it for $7. Okay, so I mean, nothing's left out here. You get the exact system. So make a report, and to do that, use a piece of software called Microsoft Word. It's built into most computers. If not, I think there's like a 60-day, 90-day trial, and I mean the student version's like $80. So I mean, come on, get Microsoft Word, and you type what it is you want to show people, and we're not even worried too much about fancy wording, being grammatically correct, even spelling everything right, and we're going to keep things in terms of lists, right? So we have these 7 steps someone needs to get through, and we're just getting someone from point A to point B. So Microsoft Word, and your secret weapon here is going to be a little keystroke, at least on a Windows computer, called Alt Print Screen. Now, what is Alt Print, or is it Control Print Screen? Let me actually test this really quick. So basically what Alt Print Screen does is it allows you to take what you're seeing on your computer screen in front of you and copy it to what's called the clipboard. Okay, so let me double check this. So I'm going to see if that did it. So yeah, Alt Print Screen is what did it. So basically, you can try this out right now actually. Open up a Word document in one window, and then open up your web browser in another window, and then hit Alt Print Screen. And what you can do then is then go to your Microsoft Word and right-click in the Word document, and then choose Paste. And so what you can do is whatever you're showing on your screen, take a still snapshot of that, and then paste it into a Word document. So if you're showing someone, in our earlier example, how to set up a Facebook fan page, well, just bring up the screen, bring up whatever form that needs to be filled out, and take a screenshot of that and say, here's how you get to this page. Then fill out the form. Take another screenshot, say, here's the form filled out, click the next button, and show the next step. And I mean, that's going to write half of your report for you. I mean, so many information products, people just want to see what do I fill in this form? And so if you just showed someone a case study, how to go from this to this, that's most of your product right there. Just looking forward in the future to create a video product, what you're going to do is get a software called Camtasia Studio, $300 with a 30-day trial. And once you kind of get bored of all this copy and pasting and typing lists, just keep it simple and show your screen, hit the record button, and talk right now. But I honestly do think that you need to create a short report first, for nothing else than just to build up that confidence and get used to people paying you for the things that you know. And I mean, if you can master that part, then information marketing is a breeze for you. Well, it sounds like the wrap it up music playing. We're just about out of time. So that was how to create an information product within 48 hours and sell 1,000 copies. Because if you choose a niche, you choose a solution where people are asking for it all over the place, then it's a very easy sell. And then you can just go onto places where these people hang out. And many times that's Facebook groups, that's forums, that's if you have some kind of a mailing list, set up your product on affiliate marketplaces such as RapBank, ClickBank, Warrior Plus, JVZoo, and get affiliates to promote this. Contact people. Get on podcasts. Contact people who have Kindle books and CreateSpace books. Publish your own Kindle book. Put out your own articles. Post on other people's blogs as a guest blogger. Publish your own articles. Publish on your own blog. Get your stuff out there. And even if you don't make 1,000 sales overnight, if you can put out a couple of products and one's a big hit, and you get 1,000 copies over weeks or months, and wasn't that all worthwhile? And even if you sell 1,000 copies of a $7 product, and then later on go to a $100 product, then I mean, selling 1,000 of anything is awesome, especially because you are the one who did it. You didn't have to work for $5 an hour, $10 an hour, $20 an hour. You had an idea. You built a business, you used proven strategies, and you demonstrated your value to the marketplace, and they rewarded that by voting with their wallets and paying you money in exchange for you solving their problem. If you want the whole system, go to makeaproduct.com right now. That's MAKEAPRODUCT. We teach you how to make a report, how to write emails, and above all, how to just speak the whole thing out. If you want to make 100 articles, you could use our system and speak them out in a very short amount of time, get them transcribed dirt cheap, and now you have audios, you have articles, you can edit them together as reports or books, all kinds of cool stuff because you applied a proven system. My name is Robert Plank. That was the Robert Plank Show, Episode 3, How to Create an Information Product Within 48 Hours and Sell 1,000 Copies. Makeaproduct.com. I'll catch you next time.